welcome to the Highball Podcast, episode 13, and I'm joined by the famous Comic Movie Marks, probably one of the best channels on YouTube that needs more subs, so go subscribe to them if you haven't already. But in this episode, I'm joined by the Marks to talk about all things Joker. We talk a lot about what's going on with Joker, the final trailer, the social media reactions to it, SJWs versus Antifa, all that good stuff, and also the Snyder Cut, and that little Twitter fiasco war that's been going on. Those are the two main topics of the show, so kick back, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the Comic Movie Marks. That's enough of an intro for now, so let's just get into it. Back with me again, Comic Movie Marks, and we're going to talk about Joker first. We both made videos about it, but your guys' was pretty awesome. I love, all right. I love the moment where you guys point out, like, both sides are getting political about this.
Yes.
I thought that was great in the South Park.
That's exactly what I wanted, because it's just, some of those were from our comment section, and, like, obviously some from Twitter, and I'm like, is nobody else noticing that, like, you guys are arguing the opposite argument? It was just funny to me. I found it hilarious, and I was just like, we're just sitting here like, I want a good movie, and you guys are here trying to dissect this thing into what could it politically mean.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, the SJWs are all crying about this.
Yeah, and then there's people saying it's an SJW pandering movie. It's gonna help the leftists. It's Antifa clown or some shit like that. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. I was just laughing at it.
Unfortunately, that's the landscape that we live in now. People are going to change whatever it is to fit their specific narrative or whatever they think that the movie might be. And even to Matt threw in that little South Park clip, and even to that clip, I'm sure once the movie comes out, people are going to be like, oh, this was a deeper meaning behind that. And, you know, all sorts of stuff. As long as, you know, Joker's whole theme isn't the world's going to blow up in the next 10 years, and so we have to bring the Joker out to save it, or, you know, the common narrative in Hollywood, it seems to be. But I think it'll be fantastic. It seems to be doing well critically. So
yeah, global warming, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, exactly.
Humans have ruined the earth in some way, and we're all gonna die within the next 5 to 10 years. That's been the narrative,
unless we get the Joker.
Yeah, and that's been the narrative in the last, like, 3 years of, well, even longer, really, but, like, for a while now. It just seems like it overwhelmingly becomes the same thing. Like, Predator was that, like, because of our global warming, the area is becoming warmer, and the predators like this tropical feel. Oh, yeah. So apparently Cancun's not good enough for them. I don't know. It's just so stupid.
Godzilla,
Godzilla. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's always funny how everyone tries to fit the movie to their political narrative. I mean, there's so many channels on YouTube that just talk about, like, a specific thing, like woke Twitter. Like, they'll just make 50 videos about that, right?
Oh, yeah. I've seen those. I don't know why those come in my feed. I don't even know why.
Hundreds of thousands of views. That's like
there's literally a market on YouTube to make fun of Brie Larson.
Yeah,
like, that is a legit thing. Like, those videos do fucking really well.
We could have did.
I mean, ours did okay. I mean, I think one of ours got like 10,000 views and stuff. But I've seen some where, like, they suck, but they're just talking shit about Brie Larson, and they get hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, all right, I guess if that's how it works,
But back on the Joker for a second.
Yeah.
The critical reaction to it's great, and I know we don't like critics at all. But I know that the studio executives like critics, and I know that if this Joker movie does huge, like, gangbusters, you know, almost like $1 billion film, we're gonna get more of these films, and I like that idea. I like to see more of these type of films anyway. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, as far as, like, critics go, I mean, I know we don't like them, but as long as they're talking good about a movie that we want, that means we're gonna get more of it, right?
Yeah, it's such a fine line, I think, because at the end of the day, that's unfortunately what studios care about the most is box office and critical reception. And, you know, that's what determines if they're going to continue making movies similar to that. So it's walking, I think, that fine line in terms of artistic integrity for the director, but also knowing, okay, I have to turn it a certain way or deliver it a certain way so that the critics will receive it exactly the way I want them to. And so it's always fascinating to me. And I think Todd Phillips had stuck to his guns. It seemed like he knew that he wasn't going to make this a typical comic book movie, which I'm glad for. But I don't know. It's interesting to kind of see where it goes. It sounds like we're going to get more of this, more types of movies like this. So if it does well, if I enjoy it, then I'm ready for this type of comic book movie.
The funny thing is because the critics usually, especially lately, it's just been a real weird thing. I think critics have also become less meaningful lately because there's such a difference. There's such a gap between the critics and the audience lately, even more. And I just don't think the audience even cares. Look at Lion King. I mean, that one didn't do well. People shit all over Lion King. Yeah, I think it's like 50-something% on that tomato fucking meter. But yet it's like raging. It's at $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't matter. Nostalgia trumped all when it came to that. People wanted to see an updated version, or basically a so-called live action version of Lion King. And it didn't matter what critics said. Critics could have just said it was a pile of horse shit, and they still would have went and saw it because it had Lion King on it. But with critics, the thing is now we're writing this weird line where people just don't really trust them. A lot of people, especially on the DC side, or even mostly on the Snyder side of things, they don't trust critics at all because critics pretty much just misunderstood and characterized a movie into oblivion for the most part. And so a lot of people don't trust them, and we don't. I mean, I've never really trusted a critic for the most part, and it's hard to ever find a critic, especially when they all repeat the same shit over and over again.
Oh yeah, that's happening a lot right now. They're all saying the same exact thing. You've seen one review, you see them all.
If it's a Marvel movie, it's fun, it's funny, it's enjoyable, it's happy. It's like all the same words over and over again. And then now it's using dark, masterpiece, Oscar worthy, all the same words being used over and over again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like you said, you've seen them all pretty much for the most part. But the thing is, it's really I don't know. It's unfortunate is that because some people are so disenfranchised from the critics that, like, why are we caring about what they say now? And I'm not saying that we necessarily care about what they say, but this is one step. And if the movie turns out to be good, hey, guess what? We actually, for once, would agree with the critics if the movie turns out good. If it sucks, then it's back to the norm. But I don't understand what the point is of, like, hating on this movie like some people are just because the critics are liking it. That's just that you don't hate on it just because the critics like it. That's just an endless battle that you're never going to win anyway. If the movie turns out good, use your own opinion. That's the end of the story right there.
And then hate on the critics for agreeing with you.
Yeah, exactly. Stupid idiots. They didn't get it right. They may have liked it, but they didn't understand why to like it.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't understand the deeper meaning.
Yeah, but I was thinking that, it's funny that the critics are loving Joker so much, right? Because it almost feels like it's the same type of movie as BVS was. Like, maybe not exactly, but, like, it's that same type of, like, dark grittiness that they were bashing on, like, just, like, a few years ago. And all of a sudden they're coming around on, and that this is like the type of film they want now. It's just very convenient. I don't know what the motivation is, but I'm glad they won in this now, because that means we can get more of it.
Yeah, I've seen so many memes on like Twitter and Instagram explaining exactly that now all of a sudden, Zack Snyder had released a movie very similar where it was a little bit gritty, darker, still stuck to the canon of the characters, but changed it up a little bit. And now all of a sudden someone is telling you I'm not sticking to canon. And, maybe it's the director, maybe it's Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know, but I do find it fascinating that now all of a sudden the critics are like, yeah, this is exactly, we want more of this.
Yeah.
And it's Matt and I have talked about this. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on air, but it's always been weird of what Snyder has, the fact that he just he is almost the Poochie of Hollywood. He just gets kind of pushed off to the side. You're not that good of a director. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's because BVS was attached to his name that people were like, no, it's not that good. And I see. I told you, he's just a visually great director. That's what you always hear. He's visually great. Make him beautiful, but he can't focus on the story. He can't focus on the story. That's always been the common critique of his. So maybe that's why. I'm not really sure, but it's hilarious. He was kind of doing some of this a little bit before. Obviously, there are two different types of movies. Very grand, and you had these two titans battling each other. Well, I guess Batman's not really a titan, but you have these two iconic characters battling each other, and then the Joker is so much more grounded. But they do have that type of grittier feel. They have the same type of coloration and everything with the movie, and now all of a sudden this is well received. So
it's a weird thing, because what it is like, even Todd Phillips says this is not really based on a comic, even though fundamentally it has the general feel of the comic. It's a Gotham. We see in that one clip, Amusement Mile is there. They're obviously using Thomas Wayne. There's things from the comics. It's just not basing completely off of one traditional story, because really with the Joker there is no traditional story. So the fact that like this is kind of peeled away from the comics so much, but dark and gritty, is kind of what I feel like is what's getting it all this praise and shit. Is because it's not like really a comic book movie. It's not. It's not comic booky. It's just a movie about a comic book character more than anything. Even though with Snyder, BVS, as people fail to realize, is that he's used several different variations or several different comics in that movie to kind of build a narrative around it. I mean, it's filled with different versions of comics and has even different panels intermittent into it. So it's a comic book movie with a grounded feel, and it has comic book characters with a comic book feel, but in grounded. And it just like these people are just like, oh my God, it's using like comic book stuff. It's got to have this more campy feel, lighthearted, funny, all that other bull crap. It can't have that. Plus also the nostalgia of the Reeves Superman is just always going to drag down a Superman movie because of this weird attachment to one particular version that happened really twice. That happened a long time ago, but like two movies are good, the third one is really freaking weird, and the fourth one is Shane's favorite. So
underrated.
So it's just a weird thing. It's like this grip to that. Like I've even been rewatching the original Justice League cartoon that came out in the early 2000s stuff, because I on the DC app, I've been rewatching it just for shits and giggles. And there's moments that they do have like these complex themes when they're talking about, do they have too much power? They're up in the watchtower and shit like that, and there's even this discussion, and like Green Arrow, it's in the Ultimate one, but like Green Arrow's telling them like, even I'm scared of you guys and stuff like that. We have to have a contingency plan, like all this stuff, that the themes that are running through BVS for the most part. Do we need a Superman? Is there's too much power? It's like all there, but it's just full of this ridiculous camp at the same time, and also very, very convenient because they nerf the hell out of Superman in that cartoon. I never realized that until I rewatched it, but man, do they nerf him.
Yeah, he'd get like knocked out by like Lex Luthor. It's so strange.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he gets hit by like a little bit of lightning or a little bit of electricity or something like that. He goes down and he's out for the count, man. He flops like Ric Flair, man. He's out.
Those Justice League cartoons are very in the same vein as like the Batman animated series, but like that's what I feel like the Joker movie is. It's like the Batman animated series. It's like overly dark. But I like that. That's what I want to see. I think that's what makes superheroes interesting in these movies. What Zack Snyder did with BVS and what Todd Phillips is doing with the Joker. This is what I want to see in movies, because it's something that you can rewatch over and over and try to get something new out of. But now, Joker's looking like it's going to be a huge success, right? It's going to be a massive hit. At least we hope, because that means we're going to get more. And that's probably good news for the Snyder Cut, because maybe they go back to that vision, that more grittier, grounded vision that they had in Justice League, right?
I mean, that's a good possibility. It shows that the tone, anyway. The tone is desirable, at least to some people, or depending however, Joker's box office is. The tone is there, for sure. It's just, I don't know, with the Snyder Cut thing, it's just becoming a weird thing. I don't know if it's people truly realize like what kind of movie that really is. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like a drastically, like completely different film because like the same things are going to happen. You know, teams going to get together. They're going to fight Steppenwolf at the end. It's just like a bunch of detail that's not there. That's going to
Yeah,
be put back in.
and just better look aesthetics for the most
Yeah.
part.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it does end. It would end with them defeating Steppenwolf. But just in a much better way because Wonder Woman cuts his head off.
Oh yeah.
So and we see Darkseid. So it's just it's just an odd thing to me. So, the Snyder cut is definitely in that vein of being darker, and even Snyder has said that they had to eliminate some things because they were too scary.
Yeah.
The studio thought they were too scary. So it's kind of funny when you think about they told him, this same studio at the same time told him that I think it was people being turned into parademons was too scary. I think that's what he commented on. But yet they also greenlit this movie, The Joker, which actually had new management worried about it because it was so intense because they sell fucking Target pajamas.
Yeah, my hope from this whole thing is maybe they with the Joker and maybe the success of the Joker is maybe you still have the DC Black label, but I would like for them to start taking their universe movies a little bit more seriously. As I never got a chance to rewatch it a second time. Maybe I just need to make time, but as I mentioned before, Aquaman I didn't really care for. And Shazam had kind of it tried to walk the line. It had some deeper moments in there, where Billy goes and meets his mom, things like that. That's what I enjoy from the characters, and I hope maybe moving forward that they do less of kind of the over the top, very bright colored. And Aquaman was a beautiful movie, but the story itself was just so lacking for me. And again, maybe I need to give it a second look, but it was just so lacking for me. And I hope that maybe they'll start to see like, oh, what Snyder was doing, actually there is a market for that. And maybe it's not the $1 billion market or the $2 billion market, but there is something that we can gain some real like grassroots here and have some diehard fans that just stick with us through the end because they know we're going to have some movies that have artistic integrity by the directors and and actually try something a little bit different. And that's what DC's been known for. They had the Dark Knight. They have the Titans series on the DC Universe app is as far as I know has been received well. The Boys on Amazon has been received well. So people want to see something different than just the juggernaut of the MCU that just pumps out these movies one after another and they all kind of feel the same. So I hope that at the end of the day, yes, it'd be cool to have a DC Black label and have, them take a different stab at all these different characters that are maybe one-offs. But I would also like for them to take their universe a little bit more seriously and go, maybe Snyder had something. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I hope they gain from all of this.
Yeah, and that's what I was like mentioning in my video about the Reeves Batman. Like, I just want them to keep it open. Like, you don't have to tell me that the Joker is tied into it at all, but just keep it a possibility. Because, like, if this thing's a huge hit, like, of course they're gonna want to make sequels. And like, why not tie it into a bigger universe? And I know people would like to see Joker as more of a offshoot that has nothing to do with anything. But like, if you could somehow make it so we think it's attached, I mean, I think that just makes the universe better. I think it just makes it more attractive to people.
Yeah. To what Matt was talking about with the Justice League cartoon, that was a fantastic cartoon, but we've never gotten to really see that to the ultimate. Like, even with Justice League, it had some great moments in it, but what I would love for them to eventually build to is like a Lex Luthor Joker team up, or something that DC fans have just been dying for to see on the big screen. And with the little post credit scene, with Jesse Eisenberg, where he's like, maybe we should have a league of our own kind of thing, and like that's what really fascinates me. And if they start pulling away, and if Matt Reeves' Batman doesn't fit into this whole universe, and I would be really disappointed with that, because at as much as I am so harsh on the MCU movies and the majority of them are just kind of a waste, that was one of the coolest moments to see in Endgame is what they what they were building, they had a huge payoff for, in that all the characters kind of coming together as one. I got chills for that. And as much as I shit on most of those characters in their individual movies or don't really care about them, that moment itself of Avengers Assemble with Cap and with a hammer, and they built to it, and you got kind of that big payoff. And I was just so jealous that I don't know if we'll ever get to see something that epic from the Justice League side with all these iconic characters. And hopefully we get to that point. But that's kind of one of my biggest worries, is that we never make it to that point on the DC side. They just start pumping out individual movies or whatever.
Yeah, nothing ties into anything.
Right.
And, if it makes for better movies, I guess, you might as well just do it like that anyway. But I would much rather see some way for them to tie it all together. Somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was on Twitter, I forget their name, but somebody mentioned that they should do a Lex Luthor Wolf on Wall Street type of movie. And I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Always got to sell. He's always got to be buying and selling something, man. Always got to be some kind of entrepreneur, right? The thing with the Matt Reeves Batman is that I kind of feel like, it's not a reboot, but this is like WB, not necessarily, well, I guess it is. It's a panic mode type movie to me, that, all right, you know what? We fucked everything up. Now we need a reset. What's our tried and true? All right, let's make another fucking Batman movie, because that's our most successful franchise. Is anything related to Batman does pretty well, even if it has Batman and Robin. Yeah. And it still did well, even though it got shit on. It still made money and shit like that. So it feels like it's kind of like all right, let's go back. And again, another Batman movie. We have it recorded, but I haven't put it up yet. But we're talking about the Spider-Man thing. I almost wish in some point, like with Spider-Man, that they could just relax for a second. Like with Spider-Man in general, is like, you know what? We've had so many reboots already in less than 20 years. And so many different versions of this damn thing already. Like, there's no consistency at all. And then same thing with Batman. It's already now, or what are we on? Like our sixth Batman or seventh Batman in 30 years?
Oh yeah.
And so it's not it just seems like a movie to go back to, like, okay, well, we screwed everything up. Let's just do Batman. We got to do Batman. Let's do Wonder Woman, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I for sure we're gonna get an Aquaman sequel because of just how much money that movie made. But yeah, they still got the Flash movie on the table. Who knows if that's ever gonna happen?
It's weird. I've started seeing more things coming out of and I haven't dug in to see exactly where all this information is coming from, but apparently, according to Instagram and Twitter, so take it for what it's worth, that it's still in development, and they want to make more of a grounded movie and actually have some emotion and heart to the character. But I don't know where any of this is coming from. I haven't seen any sources that have been credited or anything. So who knows? That's kind of weird.
I know the director from It is now confirmed.
Yeah, he was talking about the Flash, wasn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, he was talking about the Flash, and that Flash is his next movie. And everybody's like all excited. I'm like, we've had like 4 directors for this damn thing,
right? Yeah.
Sit back, relax. When they actually start filming this thing, I'll believe it's actually going to be happening, because right now they've had so many writers, so many different directors, and Ezra Miller's just been saying for years now that we're just waiting to get that right script, and he's the next. I think Film Gob said this. It's like he's the next Affleck, and like he's just like, we're trying to get that script right. Haven't quite got it down yet. And hopefully he stays.
I was gonna say, Flash. Breaking news: Ezra Miller decides to leave the
Flash.
Oh,
it's like any day now.
He couldn't get it. He didn't want to be a monkey he didn't want to be a clown for the director or something. What was that quote from Affleck? I'll be a monkey for Matt Reeves. Yeah. We saw how that worked out. You think about it, man, the studio loyalty that some of these people have. I get it, because WB is like the second biggest studio, and you really don't want to rock the boat per se. But man, I mean, these guys, a lot of these guys, like with Snyder and Affleck and a lot of other ones, they stay committed to this narrative for a long time. Even though I'm pretty sure Affleck was out of this thing as Batman long before long before it was ever confirmed. And they tried to bring him back, but he just refused. And the fact that he's still kind of stuck with that narrative, like, I'll be a monkey for Matt Reeves and all this other bullcrap and stuff like that. He actually said that shit. I find fascinating that he stuck with it. He probably hated every second of it, but he stuck with it.
Well, he doesn't want to burn bridges or anything because I think Warner Brothers has been funding most of his films, right? Since The Town, right? I think they fund every single one of them.
That's probably a big to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost everything to do with it. And they've owned Zack Snyder since the beginning until this new Army of the Dead film. So there's that.
Well, Dawn of the Dead was with Universal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the only one.
It's been like Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost all Warner Brother Pictures. I don't know. The Guardians of Gahoo, is that WB?
I think it is.
Is it? Oh, okay. That'd be the only other one out of the question. But yeah, I've always, when we went to the studio tour, I think we've obviously talked about this, but we went to the studio tour at WB. He's everywhere. Snyder is everywhere. They got like the 300 shields and spears and stuff in this one area. A lot of his stuff, more 300 stuff, more Watchmen stuff. There's like this little computer thing that you can use a dial to see how the layers of CGI happen. Like you can see where it's totally green screen and everything, and how they add layers, color correcting and lighting and everything. And like there's like 5 movies that they show on that thing of like scenes, and 3 of them are his. And it's like Watchmen, Man of Steel, and Sucker Punch. And I can't even remember what the other 2 were. And it's all 3 is like his movies because they're visually like they're great looking movies.
Yep.
And how they do stuff. And he's just like, he's all over the damn place when you look at it. But at the same time, they have like this fractured relationship.
Yeah, they had no faith in him for Justice League or something. Like they gave up after BVS. It was just strange, because Man of Steel, I think, was like, I think most audiences really like the movie. And I still think most audiences like BVS. Maybe not loved it, but at least I think most audiences liked it. And just for them to like completely just throw Zack Snyder under the bus and like completely change his movie and still have his name attached to it was just so shady. Like I don't know like why they would treat him like that after so many franchises he helped make for them. But what else you want to talk about? you want to keep talking about Snyder Cut?
Yeah, we can. Transition.
That's a rough transition. I mean, we could all talk about the greatness of Twitter right now.
Dude, the fucking constant fucking ridiculous fighting on Twitter over the dumbest shit.
I know you. We were talking to you about like we should start our own group. Like, like fuck it. You know what? We're our own gang. Group. It's like the West Side Story, man.
Dude, it's exactly how we should do it.
And I was like, I think you suggested Court of Owls, and I started thinking about it later. I told Shane, you know what? We should be the Watchmen because we just sit back and watch them fucking and watch them like just apparently argue over the dumbest stuff. I've never seen. I really don't want to talk about it that much because it's so secluded into like a small group of people, and I don't even know if they realize it, that it's just a tiny little sector that's just having this little pissing fight, and that. Like, if you go to Instagram or shit like that, or really Facebook, like, none of that is there. Exactly. No one even has a fucking clue what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. It is so secluded to this one little sector that, like, it's just not even, it doesn't even reach the other side at all.
It's probably like 20 people max, like, that are, like, fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, it is. It's just a small group of people, and they're arguing over the dumbest, most pathetic stuff I have ever seen. I'm always amazed by like, wow, these are actually like grown adults. It's amazing. It's amazing to see what social media does to people in general.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much time people have on their hands.
Yeah, and anybody that sees that stuff. Yeah, and anybody that sees that stuff, it just automatically just like totally forgets about the Snyder Cut and moves on. Because the second somebody comes across that, they're like, oh, this is what these people are like, and then they move on. It just pushes us back so much from getting the cut. They don't realize how much damage they're doing to people that see their dumbass shit.
That's kind of the thing that, we've seen a lot of people are like, oh, Snyder fans are, they're toxic and things like that. And I never really understood it too much, but we got one brief glimpse aside from all this Twitter nonsense that I thought was really surprising. And it was during one of our live streams a while ago, and someone had jumped in and said one very small minor thing about I don't really like Zack Snyder's movies or something like that. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, and they were like answering like for us almost of like, this is a pro Snyder channel. And the person, I want to say it was a female, started like backpedaling. I'm sorry, I didn't know that this was a pro Snyder channel. I didn't realize. I'm sorry, guys. And was like apologizing. And I remember it was either Matt or I jumped in and said something of like, it's okay. People can have their opinions. You don't have to love Snyder like we do. But it was just kind of a brief glimpse of like how some of and I'm not saying that all of our fans are bad or anything like that, or people who happen to be on that live stream, but it was a very brief glimpse of how quickly, things can turn sour and why a lot of Snyder fans are so on the defensive. And now with us or a very small group of people are fighting amongst each other, it just makes it even worse. And then you do start to kind of see, like you said, Lantern, of like people are maybe start to look into some hashtags and things like that, and then they see all of this bullshit and they're like, yeah, I'm out. I don't care about it that much. And that's kind of been my concern, and hopefully it's just a very minute thing that most people, if they're like really intrigued about it, they'll start to see, okay, this is, yeah, it should be for the artistic integrity. And I am really curious about the Snyder Cut and things like that. That's what it should be. But I've always been kind of worried that you might get, some people who jump in and they're like, nah, yeah, this is toxic. And at the end of the day, the majority of it's not.
Yeah. I don't know if it's really going to affect the release of the cut at all, because again, it's such a small group of people that are fighting. But I think what it does hinder is any expansion on Twitter. Like, I think at this point, they might have hit the threshold. Like, I think that Snyder Cut Twitter handle is like a 7,000, and that might be the max. It might go up a little bit, obviously, here and there, but if that type of stuff keeps happening, I think that's just where the max is going to be on Twitter, the reach. And even then, though, for some reason, I kind of glanced back at the video of when it was recorded, first happened, of me yelling "Release the Snyder Cut" from the back of the room at the Vero thing. But I was looking at the details of it, the analytics of it and stuff, and like it had a huge reach and it has a really good positive thing. But then you look at it and like those people, a lot of those people that were like liking it and the reach it had, I don't think follow anybody, like really anybody in like I guess you could call the community, if you want to really call it that, maybe more of a campaign than that. They don't really follow it. They just like saw it and liked it. And they never really have ever approached, like they don't follow us. They don't follow like Film Junkie or Chris Wong or even that Snyder Cut thing. They were just people that were there. They were just there. They liked it and moved on. And they may still have it in the back of their head, but it's just there. And I don't think people realize that, like, if they see this stuff, those people, like, there's so many people that are just outside that bubble. And, like, if they see this stuff, well, they're never going to join you into that bubble. You're just going to keep rambling and being a pathetic adult on social media about the most stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. Man, if there's one thing, Shane knows this pretty well about me, but if I have one pet peeve, it's when people let words affect them.
Oh yeah,
because they're words, they're freaking words, and especially when it's on social media of all fucking things. I'm a very anti-PC person in general, as it is, and I can't stand when people let words. I mean, we've had people tell us on our videos that we should go kill ourselves.
Right, just for liking Snyder.
Well, I don't know. No, it was because we made fun of a Marvel thing.
Oh,
and we were told to like go kill ourselves or something like that. I should almost send you the thing so you can put it up on the podcast, man. I'll show you the reaction that Shane and I had when I sent him the screenshot. It's like 10 emojis or whatever laughing at how stupid and funny that is. Like, and I think Shane says that's like, I needed that laugh. Like, I think that's what he said. It was like, and that's our reaction because guess what? It's a bunch of pussies behind a keyboard trying to talk shit about people they do not know they've never met in their life, and they probably will never meet in their lives, ever. And it's just so sad. It's so sad to see how truly pathetic people are.
And they definitely don't realize how small the reach is, at least with the whole Snyder Cut community and stuff like that. Because I was just talking to like a random person yesterday, and we were talking about comic book movies and stuff, and I mentioned the Snyder Cut, and he's like, "Who's Zack Snyder?" Like he didn't even know what I was talking about, or like Justice League, who the director of Justice League was. Like he thought that was the movie entirely, uh, and I was blowing his mind with all these facts. And I'm like, good luck with that rabbit hole. That's the last thing I said.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that at work. It's crazy, and that's the part that irritates me the most is that because WB decided to put Zack Snyder's name on that, a lot of people they can't even piece it together, and maybe it's because they are the casual fan, but they will look at it and say, "Oh, that was a Zack Snyder movie. See, he is a terrible director." And you're like, "No, that's not even. It wasn't even close." I almost would have preferred if they would have just taken his name off completely, and then thrown, or even done, directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon, to where maybe there's at least some difference between the previous movies. But yeah, there's so many people now that I have started to talk about it more, and I think it's the same format at his work where they started being a little bit more like intrigued by it, and they're curious, and they'll ask me questions. But initially, when you open that conversation, some people know who Zack Snyder is, and they'll remember him from, oh yeah, he did Watchmen. I like Watchmen. Oh yeah, he did 300. And then you start talking about other movies. Oh, BVS sucked. Well, did you watch the Ultimate Cut? There was an Ultimate Cut.
Yeah,
and I'm like, holy shit! Like some of these people don't even know there's an Ultimate Cut. Like, gosh damn. And so then you start actually educating them on it, and then they become more intrigued. But it shows just how deep in the weeds we are, and how the casual moviegoer, they just look at things like, oh, BVS, I saw it once in theaters and it sucked, and then that's it. And like they don't even know that there's an ultimate, like a director's cut or anything, and then they're like, oh yeah, I saw Justice League, that movie was terrible. Well, it wasn't even his fucking movie. Yeah. And so it's just, that's the part that is crazy and frustrating.
And that's the part that's being left out,
Yeah.
And people are forgetting about the other social media platforms in general too, because everything is so focused on like Twitter. That's where like a lot of people think the focus on, but really Instagram is way bigger. There's pages that have 300,000 followers that one guy shared. I remember one guy shared our video one time on there. I mean, and he's getting like 10,000 likes or 50,000 likes and stuff on Snyder Cut stuff. And like people are just ignoring that fucking platform over there when there's like 50, 100,000 people over there. And like you do a post on your 1,000 follower Twitter account and you get like 30 likes and you're like, yeah, wow, you really did it. You're talking about such a minute part of the fandom, and you only going to get a minute part of the fandom. Like it's just, you're not going to reach anybody else but those like 50 people. It's just never going to happen. And it's just so sad to see that people think they're actually like, yeah, look at us. We're winning. We're doing it. And you're not. You're failing freaking miserably.
Yeah. And I'm like really inept. Like I really only have my YouTube channel really, but like Twitter's like I think like I post on it like maybe once every 2 days, like not even. But yeah, I don't think people realize how small some of the stuff is. Like just going back to like the SJW Antifa thing for a second. Like
wow, that's a weird transition.
I know. I've been going to like a college campus for the last couple of years. Never met a single social justice warrior. Never met a single Antifa person. Like this stuff is really just, isolated to the internet. At least that's what I feel like it is. And they had this funny poll on our college website. And it said, what are you doing to get ready for the storm? Because there's a hurricane coming. And there's like all these options. And the last option is like, what storm? And there was like 2,000 people that voted for that. And I like that pretty much encapsulates
that's fantastic.
Like what people think,
Yeah, no, seriously, that is true. That is it. That's the thing, that it unfortunately, some people, if they do use social media, they look at a headline and just pop along. Like we even saw that with the Helen O'Hara article. I don't know who chose to do that type of title for your Twitter post, your caption, that's the word I'm looking for. It was like does it exist, or it's mythical or something. It kind of implied that it doesn't exist. And no one read the article. All her feed was full of like, it does exist. Look at this. I got proof. And like, they're pointing all this stuff out. And like her whole article is like, it does exist. It's in some kind of form, but according to her source or whatever, it might need some work. That's roughly, a gist of what it was.
Which is what
but
most
like
people say about it anyway. I mean, that's like what most of the sources say anyway, is that there is a cut, it just needs to be finished, or like something needs to get done, it needs to be polished or something like that, right?
Right. Well, Hughes is the only one that's kind of turned that upside down a
Yeah.
little bit with the his information, which I still contend now that I started thinking about it a little bit more. It's either coming straight from Jay Oliva, or Jay Oliva got him in contact with somebody that can give him all those answers.
Yeah.
Someone that has seen the cut and knows the very ins and outs, that is very close to Snyder. I believe that was his contact, or it's Jay Oliva himself. Either one, that information is coming probably from somebody close to the set. If we want to believe that coincidence or not, the fact that him and Jay Oliva were working together.
It's definitely not a coincidence. I
try my best. I try my best not to let it completely influence
What
me.
was it,
I really
like
try
2
hard.
weeks later? Like he puts after like we find out that him and Jay Oliva are working together, like 2 weeks later.
180. Yeah, I know. It's telling. It's very telling. But yeah, he's the only one that's saying that there's like a more complete cut, and who knows? I mean, he assumes that, and I kind of like, this makes sense to me. He assumes it's a shorter version. How short that version is, it's kind of up in the air on the runtime and stuff, but it kind of makes sense. So if you go to 3 hours and 30 minutes, or 34 minutes to be exact, and you start removing scenes, well, if that version was 80% complete, and you start removing incomplete scenes, well, guess what? Now the shorter version is moving up in completion as you go. So you start removing those incomplete scenes, and then you start moving backwards. Well, guess what? It becomes 90 to 95%. If you remove like 30 minutes of incomplete scenes, boom, you got like a 95% complete movie. Now, that's kind of what that's kind of how I interpreted what he said. Now, whether that's right or not, or stuff like that, I don't know. But it's just, no, that's what makes sense to me, is that there's a possible theatrical cut that Snyder was working on that's damn near ready to go. Probably just needs some sound mixing and a score, maybe. I probably shouldn't even say that, because you can't even have an opinion anymore when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Did you say 165? That's what I thought I heard.
It's 169, man.
Yeah, it's no, it's 170. No, just keep going, man. It's so ridiculous. The law of the land, I guess. I don't know.
People take shit so literally. It's like, it's just insane.
Dude, the interpretation. I oh my God, man. I find it. See, Twitter, like this thing is almost like a group study. Like if you look at it, like, I'm interested in psychology, for the most part. Never studied it or anything, but just how the human brain works in general has always fascinated me in a lot of ways. And to see somebody see, like, okay, so Snyder likes something, so that must mean it's confirmed, right? that whole concept.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, it can't be that he's just skimming through and he liked the picture or liked the words, like, oh, hey, look at that. No, the 165 thing I thought was, oh my God, I thought that was fascinating to see people's reaction to that, because one, no offense to the person that wrote it, but I don't know why we're being so cryptic about how we ask a question.
Right.
It's like, what number do you like, 165 or 214?
I didn't even know what the fuck that meant for a second when I saw it. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Oh.
Exactly. And I'm like, all I could picture was like Snyder sitting on a shitter during his break in New Mexico filming a movie and being like, what? And like, all right, what's 165? Like, you got me, like, why not just ask?
Yeah.
Do you have a Justice League cut, or like something like that? What's your Justice League cuts? Is there a 165, or is it only 214? Something like that. Or even then, though, the 165 was a fallacy, because Hughes comes out and says later on it was just a rough estimate. It could have been 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours. So it was just a fallacy from the beginning, that it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter from the start. And then now recently with the whole drama and stuff, and I think he's right thing. Oh my God. I you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but like the fact that people are taking it like one way is just mind blowing. I'm like, I can think of at least 12 different meanings for that comment.
Yeah.
I could think of so many things that he's reacting to in that situation, and yet people have taken it one way, and it has to be that one way. And I'm like, wow.
What if they were talking about his zombie count on the film? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many zombies you got in the film? Oh, 165 or 214?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like they could have been talking about Army of Dead.
Yeah.
Like,
that's where his head is. Like, you know.
Yeah. Like they showed that he posted that one picture where he's in the back of a car with a skeleton and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he's like in the desert in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. And like these people are asking questions, and they actually think he's sitting there watching 12-minute videos of people bitching about the Snyder Cut community. Yeah. I don't get it. Get it. I find that amazing that people think that this man who's filming a movie right now, you know, and yes, he cares about the community that's built around him on Vero, but the fact that he thinks that he actually sits down and watches a lot of these videos, like he has liked our videos on Vero, like cool. But Shane and I both agree, we don't believe he's ever watched them.
Yeah, they're long videos. He's sitting there like every day watching it. I don't know.
Geez, thanks, Lantern. You could have at least disagreed.
No, he's probably watching it, guys. You know?
Well, like our 10-minute video, the compilation of stuff, the release, everything like that. He liked like 3 posts or something like that. Other people did about that video, and he seemed to actively go and find it. And even that short video, I'm like, I seriously doubt he even fucking watched it.
Because he put out all that stuff, so maybe he's just like, oh sweet, someone's like reposting it, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't need to know that shit. He already knows that shit.
Exactly.
Like I don't believe for a second he's ever watched any of that stuff, and that's just me. And the fact that I think people are like so certain that he watched this video, he's reacting to this video. All right, cool. Like if you really think so, because then to me that video, I mean, I don't know the guy that posted the video. I have no idea who he is. He says he's just a fan, just off in the distance, not really knowing what's going on. That's fine. That's fine. But the one thing I find interesting is that people are like, oh, he agrees with this video. And I'm like, the guy in the video is literally advocating to attack people on Twitter that hate on Snyder. He says that. He says that because he's confused of why some people say just ignore them. Like he says there's people with large platforms that talk shit about Snyder, like really big platforms, and they say some really messed up things. I've seen a couple. Like one guy said, like all Snyder fans are. He was being super out over the top just to get a reaction. But I remember there was like one guy with a blue check mark that was like calling Snyder Cut fans pedophiles and all this fucked up shit, right?
Yeah. Trump
and stuff like that. They'll just say this stuff to be ridiculous, right? And then they probably mute the conversation, and then people spend half their day arguing with nobody about all this stuff. And this guy in that video, this fan, he's like, "Oh, we should defend them. We should defend him and all this stuff." And some people say be quiet, and then these people continue to do this stuff on a large platform, and they manipulate people, or they tell people all this stuff. And he's going on about this stuff. And then he says, well, these people are just in the camp of wanting to make money off of, or just wanting to make fun of Snyder. They hate on Snyder because that's their thing. That's like their niche or something like that. That's pretty much what he says. And I was like, well, that's the point. That's why we say ignore them, because no matter what you say, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. And no matter what you say. And that's why people said, just ignore them. But this guy was like kind of like advocating like we should fight against that everybody should be on Twitter arguing with all these people with these blue check marks about this stuff. And you think Snyder really wants that? You think he wants people to do that? That's why I know for a fact he didn't watch the video.
I think he watched like the first minute, because the first couple minutes of that video, that guy was talking about how we need to stop fighting with each other and something like that.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, he's like, okay, sees it. Yeah.
Yeah, he thought that's the whole video.
Yeah. There's no way he made it through. And even how it's like pictured in that screenshot, it looks like he might be reacting to somebody talking shit about Jeff Johns.
Oh yeah,
and I'm looking at that. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't like Jeff Johns. Like we know for a fact that Jeff Johns pretty much not single-handedly, but Jeff Johns really screwed the pooch on this whole thing with the Justice League.
Oh, yeah, he could have helped. He could have protected Zack Snyder, but he didn't. So
in the Batman script with Affleck, he really, he messed with things with that. He did a lot of nefarious things to try to be Feige #2.
Oh yeah,
and he could be reacting just to somebody talking shit about Jeff Johns, and that could be it. That there was 3 comments or whatever in the thing, and boom, there it is. It just, he could have been reacting to that. So many different things. And the fact that it's one way or the highway. Anyway, let's find something else to talk about. fuck Twitter.
Right. You guys want to talk about Joker a little bit more? I don't know. I'm really excited for that film. I can't wait to see it opening weekend and stuff.
I've been hyped up for a while.
I don't know. Just because Joaquin Phoenix is playing Joker, that's the only reason I'm hyped for it. I know it's gonna be good because of that.
I don't know. Him living with his mom, that really appealed to me. I thought that was kind of cool.
What? When he was
I don't know.
his mom a bath? Is that...
I don't know. No, it's just it's just kind of funny that so many people focused on that afterwards. He's a loser. He lives with his mom, and they're probably 20-something-year-old people living with their parents and shit, fucking talking shit and stuff. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, times are tough, people. Come on.
Right?
He's obviously has to live with his mom.
If you can get free rent and a toilet main, you gotta go for that.
I mean, he's one of those sign waiver guys. Those guys, they don't make a lot of money,
Right?
Tough. It's tough lifting. It's hard for the money. Did you watch the final trailer, Landon?
For Joker? Yeah, I made a reaction to it and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did actually. I did see that. I don't know why I even asked that.
For it.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, the owl mask. Yeah. I don't even know why I asked that question. I forgot. But yeah, I tried to hold out on that trailer. I really did. I really, really did. I was like, man, I just don't want anything spoiled. I don't want to see any more. But man, does it just bite at you? You're like, God damn it! You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna watch it.
I made it to about Friday night, and then I was like, you know what? I really want to watch it. I knew Matt and I were going to be recording about it, so I didn't want to be kind of left out in the open. So I'm like, do I want to? But I kind of pushed off because I felt for a while, I've seen all I need to see about this. But I was really glad that I did watch the final trailer, because it kind of gave a little bit of a different perspective almost. And not a ton, but you got the one line, it's probably my favorite line in the entire thing, where he's talking to his psychiatrist or whoever, and he says something along the lines of, I always have bad thoughts. And he's kind of basically saying, you're just going through the motions. You don't really give a shit to try to help me or anything. And, you just ask the same questions. How is work today? Did you have any bad thoughts? And the thing is, I always have bad thoughts, or something along those lines. Really shows okay, this guy's messed up. It's not just society. Society probably helped, but it's not just society that pushed him over the edge. So I liked that, getting that aspect from this final Joker trailer, and I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah, and I believe there's going to be all kinds of deep meaning with the film, nature versus nurture type thing. I definitely believe that. But I think people are going to take it way too far and stuff, like you guys pointed out with the South Park clip. But there is to be a point to be made about the way people lash out violently. I mean, it has something to do with society, but it has a lot to do with how people are raised and genetics too. There's a bunch of different factors, and this movie could tackle all that. This movie has a big potential to be something unique. But I feel people are going to harp on, they are going to focus on their political agenda, force some kind of meaning on the film, when it's really trying to make a commentary on all of that. But we'll see when the movie comes out how people are going to react to it. But it really feels like that's the way people are already starting to draw a line on it right now. They're like, oh, it means one thing or the other. All of a sudden,
Yeah, I like the trailer, and the movie. But the thing is that people can't distinguish just life, and that's that was the problem with the Man of Steel and BVS and others and stuff. Is that's just sometimes that's just freaking life. Is that it messes with you, it tears you down. It depends, like you said, how you're raised, how well you handle it, and how well you treat it. And some people don't handle it very well. Hell, even some of the people that are pampered and taken care of their whole lives, they still have this adverse reaction to society and being a loner or something like that. I mean, that's just what happens. And just sometimes there's the people that just get up and keep doing what they're doing and try to make something better for themselves, and then there's the ones that just snap and have that one bad day.
That's exactly what the movie's gonna be. And
and hopefully it's good and great. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think that'll wrap it, man.
Yeah, I think that's a good ending, good capper. If you guys want to follow Common Movie Marks, they're on YouTube, they're on Twitter, same name. I'm pretty sure you guys are already following them if you're listening to this.
But, never know. They're probably going to unfollow now.
Oh yeah.
These guys are idiots.
It's
like
totally
you, Lantern,
about
these guys are idiots.
Oh yes.
Actually, and also we should talk about this. I think you sent us this message on, and it was a great idea. But when Chris Dawson drops that Black Suit edition, we should definitely do a mutual watch along.
Oh yeah.
On that one.
That'd be
so if possible, I know you're ahead of us by 3 hours, so I don't know how difficult it makes it, but we definitely got to do a watch along on that bad boy, because that thing is going to be completely different. That's not even. I don't think people realize how different that movie is going to be.
Yeah, he's repurposing scenes from other movies into this movie.
Yeah.
So he's going all out, and that's probably what's taking him longer to make it, because he keeps coming up with new ideas, and he keeps adding more stuff probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and also Snyder keeps dropping more stuff, so it's like, oh, maybe I should try to incorporate some of this in there. Yeah, and so I can see that just being. It could be, we may get the Snyder cut and the Black Suit edition on the same day, because the way this shit goes. But hopefully he can keep doing. I think I heard somebody say he was sick, so he had to kind of pause on doing some stuff or something like that. So hopefully he gets better. And good luck to Mr. Dawson and his Black Suit edition.
I can't wait to watch that Black Suit edition. When's he gonna drop it? Does anyone have a time frame? Is it this year, next year?
I don't know. He said it was August 30th when he said before, and then I guess a couple weeks ago, he said there's going to be delays again. I know he was having computer problems. I think I saw that tweet and stuff like that. Just too much. He needed more RAM. Need more RAM. And yeah, I don't think he ever gave a date afterwards. It might just be best at this point to just wait till the last 2 weeks and just maybe then give a date.
Exactly. Start advertising it and stuff or whatever, pushing it out there.
Because it'll do well, Twitter, everything, everybody. There is a market for people to see this damn movie. I think Film Junkie told us his reaction to the trailer, the recent trailer that he did for the Black Suit edition. That thing got over 150,000 views.
That's wild.
And a great ratio of likes and everything. People holy shit, this thing might blow up, and hopefully he can get something out of it. I hope monetarily, to kind of support what he was doing this whole time.
I don't know how he's going to be able to do that with Warner Brothers. They're going to be trying to take it down at the second he puts it up, probably. So, I mean, where's he going to put it up?
I don't know. Mega Drive or whatever it is, I think he can put it there, and I don't know.
I'm definitely downloading it.
Yeah, definitely download. It's definitely going to take a download or two. Yeah, to get it. But hopefully in some way he can get, I don't know, maybe tie a PayPal to it or something. Get tips or something, whatever they call it, $5 donations or something. I don't know. Whatever it takes.
Well, yeah, that's it for now. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Alone again.